Hello and welcome to the Talking Apron. I'm Ann Bernardin, your host. Living with diabetes has challenged me in a number of different ways. And I find that living with disease, it is not just about carbs, food, sugar, nutrients, everything we put in our mouth. It is not. Let me explain. I'm going to give you a little story. Here I was on a lovely walk through a vineyard. Yes, I live in Napa now, and I was with a bunch of friends, and sunshine was happening. The weather was cool. The sun was shining through the multicolored leaves, and I was just having a nice, relaxing Sunday. And then I got a text message, and the text message said this: Mom, we smelled propane in your yard. I live in a small RV. We turned the propane tank off because it was hissing. Yep, that kind of changed my relaxing afternoon. So I finished up with some friends and I headed home to find out what the heck was that all about. And, of course I checked it. I couldn't really find anything else besides turning the knob to the propane tank, etc. And it was getting dark, and later that night it was suggested that I use the soap bubble technique to check the hoses to see if they were leaking, but it was dark and it was nighttime. So overnight, with a little bit of that wakeful sleep, because it was in the back of my mind, it was distracting. So in the morning I woke and I put it on my to-do list for later that day. And here's what happened. I had a very distracting hour in the morning because I kept thinking about that hose. It's dangerous. And after using some self-talk words that weren't quite positive, and it was similar to, "and don't be dense," I ditched work and I headed out with, I did the bubble test. It showed a leak. I headed out with the hose to get it replaced. Why? Well, for one, I didn't want my home to go boom. But the other was, I noticed how distracted I was when I was working. I was sitting at the computer. I kept thinking of the hose. I kept thinking of the hose. And that's when I knew I needed to take care of that first. And lo and behold, yes, I went to Home Depot. No, that didn't work. Made a couple calls, found a propane distributor. Bingo, bango, within an hour and 15 minutes, replaced, done, safe, out of my hair. Now, you're not going to come across those type of stressful situations that are dangerous, but you're going to have stress in your life. And tackling the most stressful item on your to-do list first thing of the day will reduce the distraction, the overwhelm. It'll improve your focus. And all of these things help us to manage our lives living with diabetes. Because we don't need to add any other stress items. Living with diabetes is stressful enough. So keeping life a little simpler allows us to have a little bit of breathing room for when we have true emergencies. So go ahead and go grab your cuppa and then come on back so we can get started. All right, here is what we're covering today. Why does stress impact those of us living with diabetes? What is Eat the Frog method? How tackling stressful tasks benefits our diabetes management. How to start the practical steps of building this new habit and then breaking it down into pieces. So all of us wake up sometimes and have this dread, this procrastination, this not wanting to do important tasks. And it can be very specific to our diabetes management. It can include tasks like meal planning, grocery shopping, scheduling doctor's appointments, going to the pharmacy. For us type 1s, it may include making sure we have enough insulin, enough cartridges for our pump, that our pump has enough battery going on, changing our infusion site and set. It can even include cleaning out the pantry. Some simple things such like that, simple things that we just need to get done, can really give us a boost of confidence that we're doing what we need to do to stay healthy. I don't like doing all that stuff because it's a constant reminder that I'm living with diabetes, but it has to be done, and the sooner it gets done, it is off my back, done. I can go do the other stuff I want to do. And when we don't take action, that constant procrastinating thought can be a stress signal for our body. And stress impacts those of us living with diabetes and anybody else because there's a physiological connection between stress and diabetes. What do I mean? The stress hormone cortisol can raise blood sugar. So when we're stressed, cortisol comes to the rescue and it tells our body to make sugar. So our body will be ready to fight or flight. Well, guess what? We're not running from any saber-toothed tiger. We're just running from a meeting we don't really want to have with maybe a boss or an employee that are a pain in the butt. And it raises our cortisol, it raises our stress level. And chronic stress makes blood sugar harder to control. And it increases the likelihood of unhealthy coping mechanisms like emotional eating. See, with elevated levels of cortisol, your body will crave carbohydrates due to the usage of the vitamin B. So it's important to manage the stress proactively by tackling it at its source head on. So what is the eating the frog method? Well, Mark Twain once said that if you have to eat a live frog, do it first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. Now, the Eat the Frog strategy, it prioritizes and gives you a productivity method that's used to help people to identify those difficult tasks. We detail how you can use the Eat the Frog technique to help you stop procrastinating and to improve your personal productivity. This concept of eating the frog, this productivity strategy, it was once coined by a man named Brian Tracy. And the frog is that most challenging and stressful item on your to-do list. And tackling it first can set the tone, the feel-good, to have a productive day. And that lessens that constant underlying stress that I have to get this thing done. So, research has shown that lowering stress has a direct impact on long-term blood sugar control. So tackling those stressful tasks first does benefit our diabetes management. Here's a list of tangible benefits that are for diabetics. 1, it reduces that decision fatigue by addressing the hardest task when our energy is highest. It clears our mental clutter, making it easier to focus on blood sugar management and meal prep. Yeah, this isn't all, our lives aren't all about diabetes. Sometimes it's about propane hoses that are leaking, and that's stress. So when we can erase and eradicate, clearing up that mental clutter, it's so helpful. And then it helps us build momentum for the rest of the day. Dang, I got that hard one done. What's next? So that improves sticking to your other self-care habits because you're in a good mood. You've had success. You want to do something else that's really good. So here's how you do it. Here are some practical steps that you can start to build this habit. First, you start with clarity. Write down your to-do list the night before. Do not make it long. What are your 3 top that you have to do? And circle the one that feels the most overwhelming or critical to your health goals, to your work goals, to your family goals. Sometimes calling that insurance agent is more important in a stress level if you need to talk to them in regards to something really important for your family. Get that over with before you tackle the work one, because it'll always be in the back of that mind. Then you want to break it down. If the frog or the task feels too big, break it into smaller steps. So instead of listing the task as meal prep for the week, start with buy ground beef and taco seasoning on the way home for tomorrow, for Thursday, for the busy night. Or it could be chop vegetables to make a salad for tomorrow's lunch. The next on how to get started is to set a timer. Give yourself 20 focused minutes to work on it. Often, just starting is the hardest part. Just like when you paint a room, preparing the room, removing all the electrical plates, curtain rods, etc., takes more time than the actual painting does. My friend Chuck is a painter, and he gave me that. And then after you've prepped, often the task you need to do gets done pretty darn quickly. And after that, you want to reward yourself. Celebrate. Yes, I got that one done. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. You want to make the habit to feel good that you accomplished something. I don't care how small it is. Go ahead and give yourself a little dance, a pat on the back. Oh, good job. We need it sometimes. Living with diabetes is so stressful. Let's give ourselves a win. So, in closing, tackling the most stressful tasks first, it's just a simple yet powerful way to lower stress and gain confidence over your day, and it helps you with your diabetes care management. So I encourage you, my listeners, to try it out. And then, like last week's podcast suggests, be that science experiment and reflect on how it impacts your mindset and maybe your blood sugar control for the day. So, what is the frog on your list today? How about you decide to commit to completing it before anything else, and then share your success story with us? Put the frog post on Facebook. Thanks for listening to the Talking Apron. Remember, a little preparation and the right habits can make a huge difference. And if you're just getting started in your living with diabetes journey, I've got a free guide that can help you. It's called Doctor's Orders: Why Cutting Sugar Isn't Just About Sweets. It's really helpful for choosing the foods that'll help you with your blood sugar. You'll find the link in the description of this podcast. You've got this.